Check out the greenhouse. Just kidding, we ripped it all apart. Every decision we make doesn't always work, and this was one of them. So we're gonna get in here and double the size and then redo all the beds we put in here, and I'll explain that all later. We're trying to take this ridge beam out without taking any of this front apart. Okay, we got everything taken down and the new posts in place. So I'm gonna start the process of leveling off these beds. One of the reasons we're redoing this and expanding this greenhouse is because I made these beds a little bit too high and they're uneven. So our self-watering system that we put in place, which feeds water that runs off the roof into a gutter system we put in place, it doesn't flow downhill the way it should because the beds are too tall. So I'm gonna level them off, dig them down a little bit, and hopefully that'll be better. I'm gonna shovel all this dirt out onto this tarp, move the beds around, level them off, put the dirt back in, and then I'll be making another bed for this expanded area. We got this thing almost done. We got the ridge cap on, the gable caps, most of the plastic done. We just have a few sheets on the bottom and the back. We're working by golf cart light here, so we're gonna try to get this done, and I'll give you a tour in the morning. All right, the greenhouse is completely finished. So we built this thing a few months ago, and we decided to double its size and like tear it down and rebuild it using a couple different strategies, and they worked out a lot better. We ran these cedar 1x3s on top of the rafters. It just allowed us to not have to do cross bracing, which took a really long time. And they worked really well for screwing in these plastic sheets and these gable caps and ridge caps. Another reason we decided to tear this thing down and rebuild it was the beds were uneven, and we have a self-watering system on this greenhouse where we have gutters hooked up, and the water runs into the gutters, goes into a tube and feeds into the bed. And the beds were just too high, so the tube was like, he couldn't sit down in it properly, so the water couldn't flow the way it should. So we dug it down a few inches, and it's made a world of difference so far. We haven't hooked up a self-watering gutter for the second bed we made, but we can do that at any time, and then it'll be feeding water from both ends of the bed that's running across the back end of this greenhouse. Overall, I'm really glad we did this. It's just a lot better being inside of this. We can get a lot more growing in here now, and it should last for a really long time. So there was a few things we messed up, and the first one was the ridge cap. We cut it too short, and there's a little piece from the other ridge cap we had to overlap, and it's fine. It should work properly. We're probably gonna end up redoing this next spring or something. It'll work for now. It's just not the best looking thing. Also, the gable caps here, we didn't know how to do these when we first built it, and we didn't want to buy other ones, and we thought we would be able to cut them at an angle and line them up properly, but it would have been short on the ends. It should still work. It's just not the prettiest thing, but that's something we can fix in the future. It shouldn't take very long. We're also gonna have to put some plastic gables on the sides, on the bottom here. There's a little gap in between, so we're gonna have to pick some up next time we're at a hardware store. But other than that, I'm really happy with the way this turned out. It's just a lot better size. It's gonna be a lot more functional, and we have another huge bed that's in there that I'm gonna get filling up later today. But this sets us up really well going into the cold season here. We're really gonna see how far into the winter we can get carrots out of this greenhouse. The goal of this channel and what I'm doing here is to be completely self-sufficient, and I'm in northern Wisconsin, so we have a short growing season. So any way that we can extend our growing season and get fresh produce into the colder months is extremely helpful.